let's kind of start talking about that a little bit. I mean, it's one of the first things that you might run into on deliveries. People will say like, yeah, red right return, but especially when you're in the intercoastal, you'll see different intersections and stuff like that. Everything's going in different directions. Fortunately, we do have a very well marked intercoastal around here, but what are some trips? I mean, some tricks? What are you looking for? What are some constants that you'll see, and what's going to make it that much easier anywhere, pretty much on the coast or in the country?
So in the United States, you've got the Intercoastal Waterway, right? So it's a marked channel. It's kind of like a roadway. Think of it as a highway or an interstate, right? There may be deep water outside of that channel or whatnot. That's where your chart plotters and stuff are going to come in handy. You're going to be able to tell the depths of water around there. But there is a marked path, basically, that if there was let's say there's a ditch that runs between the barrier islands and the mainland of the United States, right? And you're starting up in Maine, and there's a little canal that goes all the way down to Key West. The whole way down that eastern seaboard, you're going to have red and green markers. So the red markers are going to be on the mainland side. They're going to be on the continental USA land side. Then once we're in Key West, we're coming up and we're going to go around to Brownsville, Texas. Red on the right heading to Texas. The same thing. Those red markers are going to be on your right-hand side. Those are Intercoastal Waterway markers. And what kind of makes it easy, I've got these markers behind me. Let me scoot these in a little closer. But what's going to tell you it's an intercoastal marker is that little yellow symbol right there and this one right here. So your red markers are going to have a yellow triangle at the top of them. Your green ones are going to have a yellow square at the top of them. These symbols is what you're looking for when you're in the Intercoastal Waterway. Now, you may have a square on a triangle or vice versa. It's very rare. It might be an intersection of some sort. But these little yellow symbols are actually the ones that supersede everything else. So, but 99.99% of the time, the yellow triangles are going to be on your red triangles. Your yellow squares are going to be on the green squares. All right? The red markers with the yellow triangles, it's very simple. You keep on the continental USA land side. The green's going to be towards the barrier islands or towards the Gulf or towards the Atlantic. It doesn't matter. Now, the red right return part of it comes in. Say we're driving down the Intercoastal Waterway and we want to veer off and we're going to go into a marina. Or we're out in the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic Ocean and you're coming back in. If you're going from big to small, a bigger body of water to a smaller body of water, it's returning. Those markers will not have these yellow symbols on them. They're going to be plain. They're going to be just like that. If you see a marker that's plain without the little yellow markers on it, you know right away it's a red right return rule. They're numbered. Your green markers are odd. The reds are even. The further up a channel you go when you're red right returning, the numbers go up in ascending order. So if you see 1 and 2, you're at the very beginning of the channel. All right, so we work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however long it is. If you've been up into Homosassa or Crystal River, you're up in the 80s and 90s by the time you work up in there. I mean, it runs for miles and miles and miles. So these numbers don't have any bearing on mileage. It's just that they go in ascending order. So when you're leaving, nothing changes. The markers don't move. So when you're heading out, the greens are going to be on your right-hand side. The reds are going to be on your left-hand side as you're leaving. Okay. Then people go, well, what about, one thing people get confused with is like your navigation lights, right? So you got red and green, bow lights. That doesn't have any bearing on the channel marker type, the reds and the greens, for the most part. What color's port, Nick? What color's your port?
Port is red, and a good way to remember that is port wine is red.
Port wine is red. By default, the green one is starboard, okay? So port has 4 letters, left has 4 letters as well. So as you're standing at the helm, the port side, your left side, port wine is red, your port light is red. Now you may be coming in a channel that's red right returning, and as you're coming in, and then there's going to be an intersection or a Y, it's going to veer off. You've got options of going to your right or to your left. There will be a banded marker there. The color that's on top is the way the preferred channel goes. So here in Tampa Bay, a great example is the cruise ships that come in to go to the port, to go into downtown. The tankers, the freighters, anything that goes to the main port and channel side. So they start out at the Whistler Sea Buoy, which is a safe watermark. It's all deep all around there. They come in, the whole time they're coming in, the red markers are on the right. They start at 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come on in past Egmont Key, go underneath the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. They're heading up Tampa Bay. And then lo and behold, right in front of them, they've got MacDill Air Force Base. It's like, we got to make a decision here. Which way do I need to go? Well, right there in front of MacDill, there's a green over red marker there. Since the green band is on top, the green is the dominant side, so the main channel turns to starboard. If it had been red over top, red's port to the left, then the main channel will go off to the left-hand side. So if you're on a red right return rule, you're coming in and you come up to a marker that's 2 different colors, the red or the green, whichever color's on top, that's the way the main channel is going to veer and turn off. There's going to be a secondary channel, might go over into a little marina or another little cove or something else on out of the way. But ascending orders, the greens are odds, the reds are evens. The greens are always going to be squares, the reds are always triangle. A lot of people are red-green colorblind. So that's why you've got the shapes, okay? If the sun's rising or setting behind these channel markers, you can't make out the colors. So, but you're always going to be able to make out the shape. Then once you're out, if you're leaving, you're at 1 and 2, then you're out into the open, then you might be turning and going into the Intercoastal Waterway. And then at that point, they're going to go back to having the little yellow symbols on them, and then keep the red ones with the yellow triangles to the USA land side.
What are the best engines for a Sea Ray Sundancer 310? 2 diesel Yanmar engines, 315 horsepower each, or 2 Mercruiser engines, 350 horsepower each? You've probably delivered a lot of those. What are your thoughts on those 2 engine combinations?
I mean, I've delivered some of the diesel Yanmars, and they run really good. It's just your preference, I mean, whether you've got access to, if diesel's going to be more convenient for you. I think diesel's probably a little more expensive. I mean, you're on the sales part of it, rather than
to buy one.
Rather than gas stern drive. There's not that much difference in horsepower. Either way, if you're a diesel Yanmar fan, go that route or stick with the Mercruiser. It's just personal preference, really.
Then we got Rogue Viking that says Aquila 44 versus Aerocat 420 Flybridge for the Great Loop. Not entirely familiar with the 420 Aero, but with Aquilas and the Great Loop, which is a lot of people might not know, it's pretty much a way for you to see a good part of the country all from your boat. And there's a multiple time guest here, not on Boating Tips Live, but I know that they've been on Boating Broadcast, and that's April and Larry Smith on One Eyed Dog. You can find them anywhere on Facebook, anywhere on YouTube, and they document their whole Great Loop experience on their Aquila 44. It's husband and wife team. They've got their dog. They go anywhere and everywhere, and I learn a lot from them. Even though we're the dealer, I mean, they're living on that boat, and they're very, very boat savvy, live aboard savvy, which is something that's completely different than probably a big percentage is used to on the water. And just those little tricks that you use to adjust from living on land to living on a boat, traveling on that boat, preparedness and stuff like that. And that's really cool. So I'm going to drop that in the comments right now. That's One Eye Dog. You can find them. I put it in YouTube, and they do great work. So it's real exciting. Tell them that Nick and Keith sent them.
If guests come a day or two early or stay a day or two later, is there any places around that they can tour the island for a bit or hang out around there?
Absolutely. So we're stationed, our boats are based out of Nanny Cay, and we're a full resort. We have a hotel, we have a beautiful bar, a beach, a pool, so you could hang out there. The rooms go for about $200 a night, so you could come a couple days early and stay or add on to your trip. And there's other places all around the islands that you can go to. Scrub Island is a 5-star Marriott property, so you could stay there if you're looking for something a little more high-end. That's 5-star. And they have transfer services that run every hour to different locations of the island to take you around and let you. Actually, we met a couple that was staying there. They were there for their honeymoon. They were there for 7 days, and every day they went somewhere different. We met them at Soggy Dollar, and every day they got dropped off somewhere else and spent the day. And then there's taxis around, so if there's places that you want to really go explore in our islands, there's taxis everywhere that you can jump on.
Is there sonar that will look forward of the boat for strictly navigating shallow waters and leave you more reaction time when you come up on a steep grade?
Yeah, this is a great question, Bob. This is one that we get all the time, and this is a technology that is out there. I will be honest and say that Raymarine does not have this technology in its portfolio, that it's something that we're always looking at all the time. One of the reasons that we don't have it in our portfolio is that this is probably the hardest sonar technology of all to be implemented, because a customer's expectation level for what this sonar has to do is very, very high, right? You want to use this for collision avoidance, to not run aground when you're running at speed. When the reality is this technology that as it is out there now works very well, but it is primarily for low speed applications. So you can't be running at a full clip down the bay and then be alerted hundreds of feet in advance to shallow water so that you have time to slow down. So it is out there. We don't make it at the moment, but there are some options out there.
Since there are practically no significant reviews online of the Sea Ray 290 SDX outboard, excellent boat, by the way, would you care to share your opinions from possible personal experience? Last review on Boat Test was back in 2016. Yeah, man.
Check out MarineMax on YouTube. I don't know if let's see, Lewis, looks like you're commenting from YouTube. So go ahead, just search 290 STX outboard MarineMax. We've got a ton of them. That's one of the most popular boats right now. The 270 and 290. 270 being single engine, 290 being a twin engine. Those are extremely popular boats. Let me get down to why the 290 is a great boat. Okay, so the 270 is extremely popular. I mean, Keith, you think you've delivered over 100 of them?
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reason for that is it is the biggest single engine outboard boat pretty much that we sell for the most part. And there's a big jump between a 27 and a 29. There's a big jump not only in price, because I mean you're spending a lot more money, and it's only 2 feet. And in boat terms, 2 feet on the length of a boat is a lot more than just, putting 2 feet on the bow. Everything changes. The 290, you're gaining a lot with, first of all, it's a rocket ship to drive. You can have that boat with twin 200s or 250 V8s. And when you punch that boat with the twin 250s, I mean, it is coming out of the hole quick. Also, twin engines, you're gaining the ability for JPO, which is the Mercury joystick system on a 250s. You can't get that with single engines. So a lot of people are intimidated with a boat that size because it is a bigger boat. It's, not quite a boat that you can really just kind of push off with. That 290, you do get the twin engine, so you do get the joystick. Now, this is what's really exciting. In 2020, they actually started offering the 290 SDX outboard in twin 200s with Optimus joystick. So you could have the joystick on the smaller engines too. So it brings the price down a little bit. It's not a dog at all. It's very, very, very well powered. And I thought that was neat that they did that. C-Ray came out. They said, hey, Mercury doesn't have JPO on the V6s, but, they'll do them with the Optimus. In my opinion, personally, you cannot beat the JPO system, the actual Mercury system, but I'm saying it is an option. And the 290, you're getting a ton of space. You get the option for a little sink, a little fridge, stuff like that. When you put an outboard on it, Lewis, you get all that storage down below where the engine room would be on a inboard boat, and it's just an all-around boat. Ton of seating, ton of shade, windlass if you want it, twin engines, and there's a reason why they are backed up, about 8-9 months. So that's that.
Also, with the Mercury JPO, not only are you getting the docking control, you're going to get autopilot or auto heading in that. So you tap a little button, it's got a boat with a little arrow on it. That's going to hold you on a straight course. Then you're going to make adjustments through the joystick. Give it a twist, it's going to move you 10 degrees. If you push it to the side or pull it to the side, it'll move you in 1 degree increments. Sometimes 10's not enough or too much, so you can tweak it. It's also going to have go-to waypoint. So if you've got a Raymarine chart plotter and you touch out there and you put a spot you want to go to, you hit the 3 little buttons on the right-hand side of that. It's going to lock in on that spot and it's going to take you right there. You can build a route, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, however long that route is, and you tell it to follow that route. That's all tied in with that JPO system. It will follow your route. It's got Skyhook. If you're waiting for a fuel dock to open up, you're waiting to get lines and fenders out on your boat, you hit the Skyhook button and it's going to hold you in place. You might want to see the sunset and you want to look at it from the stern. You can turn your boat around. Whichever way you've got your boat sitting, when you hit that Skyhook button, that locks you in on that heading. So there's a lot more to it rather than, man, that's a lot of money just for, I can use this little joystick when I'm docking the boat.
Very true.
It ties everything together. And it just, at the end of the day, if you're not hanging onto the steering wheel and driving a boat for 3 or 4 hours going somewhere. You hit the auto heading button or the track to waypoint. You sit back, relax, and just take it easy and just maintain a lookout, and you can make adjustments as need be. But there's so much more to it.
And we deal all sorts of different brands of motors, engines, boats. I think that it's pretty undisputed across the entire marine industry that Mercury, and I'm going to make a bold statement here, Mercury does have the undisputed best joystick system from the factory. And I don't even think it's close. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, hands down. Absolutely.
Captains, first time boat buyer soon, medium experience with boats, been considering a Galleon brand 32-foot mini yacht for long weekends. That's a 325 GTO. In Bahamas trips, good name brand. Yes, absolutely. I'm not just saying that because I sell them. They're as far as fit and finish goes, all right, I'm going to go into a little Galleon tangent here. Keith can go on one too because he's delivered probably 100 times more than I have. But, as far as Galleons go, the fit and finish, second to none. I mean, from the headboards to the liner to everything, it's all second to none. Galleon's a 90% vertically integrated company, so you're going to see a lot of stuff done on a Galleon, whether it's a teak, whether it's a metal work. It's going to be done in-house. The reason for that is they're doing a lot of that themselves. It's going to keep these costs actually relatively low on these boats. Like you might be looking at a $2 million galleon, and you might think that it's a $3 million boat all day, even though the quality's there. That's why a lot of it's in-house. So yeah, in short, yeah, great boat, Al. And I'm sure Keith can attest to that too.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have any issues with that. Galleon's awesome, man. They're beautiful. I kind of speaking, just jumping, just because it just kind of got in my head here. April 1st, 3 more days.
Yes. There you go. I know what you're going to say.
It's a red one of these, not black, but you've got a kill lanyard on your boat. Boats under 26 feet, you've got to wear the ignition cutoff switch now.
Mm-hmm.
So hook them up. The Coast Guard's going to, the FWC or Marine Patrol, Coast Guard or whatever, excuse me, when they're pulling up, you don't want to be, they're going to see you fiddling around and trying to hook it to yourself and all that stuff. So
it's like your seatbelt.
It's there for a precaution. It's there. It's a good thing. I don't know if not sure if we've talked about this or not, but Marine won the National Safety Awards this year that we put out there through the Sober Skipper Foundation and CETO and everything. And it's a wireless kill switch, and they're actually working with Sea Ray and Boston Whaler now. I think the 2022 is coming out. You're going to have the option of having the kill switch done that way.
That's something I was going to ask you, Keith. Do those, for the law, I know that you're way more in tune to the law with that than I am. Do those wristbands, are they sufficient to not get a fine?
Yep. So
okay,
they've got the wristbands, so you can order multiple bands, so you can put them on your kids. So if you're trolling and little Susie falls in the water and you may not realize it or something's going on, as soon as it hits the water, it's going to kill the engine, right? Then there's a way to override it so that you can turn around and go back and get her. But it just makes sense, like say these guys that are up north fishing in these like a little Lund aluminum boats, right? Or you're doing stuff and you're bending over, and that's where accidents happen, is most people fall out of boats. So, and if the boat's running, it's going to go, then it's going to make that turn to port, and it's going to start doing donuts, and then your circle gets tighter and tighter, and you end up taking a chance of getting run over.
Yeah.
So wearing the lanyard will obviously eliminate that. And then with all these new digital electronic type ones that are activated, then it gives you the freedom to walk around your boat and do stuff. So Marine, look them up. It's they've got great videos, great content, show you how to install one yourself. I'm in the process of purchasing a new center console. My choices are Mercury or Yamaha 250/300. Can you discuss your reliability numbers versus the Yamaha? Thank you.
Yeah, I would say, especially with our new V6 and V8 product, they've gone through, thousands of hours of testing before they even leave our facility as part of the program. From a reliability standpoint, we continue to improve on our warranty rates, continue to provide, a good experience for customers. I think historically, people would say, if you want reliability, you go Yamaha. If you want performance, you go Mercury. But I think with our, with a lot of our recent product introductions, we're really changing that. We're continuing to improve on our reliability, continuing to make that experience better for customers. I think we have, one of the leading reliability numbers and lowest warranty numbers in the industry.
Here's my take on that. I'm a big Mercury guy. I'm a big Yamaha guy too. I think that they are two of the most spectacular engines on the market. What I've found to realize is, first of all, I'm going to say that Mercury is definitely a excellent run company. Mercury's product is superb, but I think that even more impressive is how awesome you guys are as a company. right here in America, right here in Fond du Lac for the bigger engines, and Wisconsin, and just dealing with Mercury from an ownership standpoint, I think is a spectacular experience. And yeah, I mean, you've heard that a lot. If you want the performance, get the Mercury. If you want the reliability, get the Yamaha. You want to know when I stopped saying it? I stopped saying that when you guys came out with the 150, with that 4-stroke, the Operation Bedrock. And if I'm correct, that's the whole point of that engine, was to kind of shift that paradigm and say, hey, we're going to be known as reliability too. And there's charter guys out there. I know charter guys. You could probably smash these numbers. I know guys up in New England putting 5,000 hours on those 150s. I mean, how many guys do you know out there that are putting 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 hours on a 150 Mercury? And that's kind of when I was like, okay, you know, enough with that whole Mercury is not reliable talk. I mean, they are reliable engines, and that was the whole point of, you know, developing that 150. First-time boat owner here, lifetime boater fisher. However, this is Adam Eckerman. What are some equipment and items that are must-have on boats that might not be obvious? First, Keith, what's in your ditch bag?
Well, you've got your EPIRB and or personal locator beacon.
Right.
Very important, because if your cell phone gets wet or whatever, you can't get a hold of somebody if you're out of range. So the EPIRB is going to work through satellite to be able to notify the authorities. Handheld VHF radio, you can talk to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. You've got your all the basics, right? You got your life jacket, you got your throw cushion. Flares, make sure that your flares are in date and good and dry. You got a whistle. I recommend everybody take a whistle and just tie it onto your life jacket. Each life jacket you've got in there. So if you end up in the water, you know, you can, you know, make sound. The little glow sticks, right. Little snap slalom glow sticks. Tie those onto your life jackets as well. So it's not a bright sunny day like it is now, but it's, you know, you're coming home from a restaurant at dinner or something, and something happens and you end up in the drink, you know, you grab your life jacket, you're in the water, even though it's bright orange or bright yellow, it's still going to be dark with no light. So you can break that little glow stick, and then you're sitting out there glowing. And if there's a group of you, you know, it's going to be, you know, really easy to see. I've got a strobe light on my offshore type 1 life jacket, so where if you're going to be in the water for an extended period of time, you know, that's obviously anything you can do to make yourself, you know, more noticeable. As far as like having stuff on your boat that you may not think about,
the not so obvious. Paper towels.
Yeah, I mean, a spray water bottle, you know, keep your electronics clean, you know, paper towels. A spotlight or a really good heavy duty, you know, flashlight, a knife. So if you happen to get something hung up in your props or or whatever, you can, you know, take a knife and untie it or cut it loose. You know, knives are invaluable. Yeah. Always have a knife on a boat or a razor knife.
You might want to invest in a good set of weather gear too. I swear, and it's like every time I don't bring weather gear, if there's not a cloud in the sky, next thing you know, you're getting rained on, you're miserable.
Yep.
And definitely well worth the investment, especially if it's cold. Good set of boots, maybe foul weather gear, because if your feet are wet, then you're miserable. Feet are wet and cold, and just keep it on the boat.
Stay dry. I mean, we don't have to. I mean, winter time, I mean, we can deal with some hypothermic stuff, but those of you that, you know, might be up in Michigan or Wisconsin or LOZ or anywhere, you know, the water's cold. It gets really cold at night, and it doesn't take long for you know, body temps to drop.
No, not at all.
You know, it's one of my favorite TV shows now. What is it? Not Lone Star Law, but what's the one? Northwoods Law. There was the kickoff of that. But they deal with that all the time up there. You know, the Rangers are out there, and what happens when somebody falls out of a canoe or a little boat or something like that, and they get sucked into the current. That's cold water. Yeah. You know, you don't have a long time.